Hello everyone, it's been Rock39 trying to knock out this final video for the search for maximum concealment in every weapon in the game. I've gotten down to the last two categories and they're both very short categories, so it shouldn't take very long to shoot this video. I'll get started right away. I'm using the CAR-4 rifle as the primary, which allows 32 concealment, and we'll just get straight to it. The HRL-7 rocket launcher. It's the only special weapon aside from the OVE saw that isn't download content. So here we go. It can reach a concealment number of 6 by adding the only concealment modifier, which is in the form of a boost. So you get a +1 in concealment. That's all you're going to get. But because of the high concealment of the CAR-4 rifle, you're at a 35 detection risk. Excuse me, with the HRL-7. So now on to the DLC items. The pistol crossbow, it's a part of the Gauge Ninja pack, and it's got a decent, really good actually, concealment number of 29. And there are a few options which allow you to gain that number. Here I use the skeletal limb as opposed to the carbon limb. I just think it looked better, and neither one of them has an advantage over the other, but that one looks nicer. Excuse me, that one looks nicer to me. And we add a concealment boost. Now the difference between the camo grip and the walnut grip is positive or negative concealment. The walnut grip also looks really nice, but I'm going to equip the camo grip and get that concealment point, because that's what this build is about, or these videos is about. Now the sight is unnecessary. Once again, if it costs concealment, I won't use it. So this one is pretty good. Now as far as the China Puck, that is also download content. They call it a Wolfpack item. So I can only assume that if you don't have the big score and didn't buy any download content, you can't access this either. But if you can, it's a pretty decent secondary, even with its detection risk of 4 when you use it with that CAR-4 rifle. That's really good. That'll keep that CAR-4 at a critical build, unless I'm not mistaken. That's incredible. Okay, back to it. I'm sorry, I don't use this really, so forgive me. Now this does give you the option of regular explosive rounds or incendiary rounds, but for the concealment boost, that's 1, and the riot stock actually gives you a +4 in concealment, which explains why this pretty devastating weapon can be a secondary even in stealth. That's strange to say, but it'll work, and definitely it's worthy of going into a critical build, be it rogue, dodge. You know, I've been saying that a lot because of the concealment. So yeah, definitely something to take a look at. Impressive. Now the saw, it's blacked out because I don't have this build with any saw skills, and this is a secondary slot. So if you want the saw as a secondary weapon or tool, you'll need to spec into the saw skills, which are in the enforcer tree. Portable saw, you can either get basic, and that'll make it available to your secondary, or you can ace it and make it a way better saw, more useful. Hardly ever need to hit the ammo bag when you're doing trustee bank with fast motor and a durable blade. The thing just runs forever, it seems. But since I'm going to involve that one into the specials. I guess I'll add the points just so we can see the effect that it has with the car 4. Now there you have it. Even with a saw at a 17 concealment, you can get a detection risk of 13, which is pretty darn good, especially considering some people use a saw at a 20, and that's fine, but this is 13, so that's really good. I never even knew that. But that is with the highest modded assault rifle, the CAR 4, in a 32 concealment. Either way, that's still pretty impressive. Here we're going to go to the shotgun secondaries, and we're going to check out the Locomotive 12 gauge shotgun, which is one of my all-time favorites. I love this secondary weapon. I actually mod it so many different ways, but it's really towards this concealment number. I use mine at I think 29, but I like putting a sight on. But for the concealment purpose, you simply go for the silent killer suppressor, the concealment boost, the straight grip. Adding the extended mag is definitely advised because the extra 2 rounds is really a benefit, and it doesn't cost you any concealment points. So definitely, if you have that, you should apply it to the Locomotive. Now you have an option of sights, but since I am building for concealment, I'm not even going there. Now you have a couple options for increasing concealment by a pretty good number. As it stands, this shotgun is at 30, and it's because I'm using the tactical shorty stock. Now I could look for another one with a, obviously the wide stock is one that gives you a concealment benefit, and that's fine, and you get a bit more stability out of it as opposed to what you lose as opposed to what you lose by applying the shorty stock. But concealment is the main focus, so I'm going with the one that gives you the most. Also, you do have the mold on stock, which will give you a boost in concealment, similar to what you will get with the wide stock, except one gives you a positive stability and this one takes stability away, but the concealment increase is the same with the two, and this is what it looks like. So, and that's not bad, but I prefer the tactical shorty for the most concealment. And that's it for that Locomotive shotgun. Very versatile weapon. I'm going to do some special for the shotguns where it might be a little more explanatory, but right now I'm just going to move on. The Street Sweeper shotgun is a 23 in concealment, which isn't great. As you see, detection risk went to 4, but if you're good with the CAR 4 at 32, then this might be the shotgun that you might want to try as a secondary. It's not as good as a Locomotive, and I feel sorry to say that, but it's just true. Now you do have a number of ammo options, which I'm not going to get into, but here you have a suppressed barrel that you can apply, or let's see if I remove that, what it would do if I went with just the silent killer. So 23 with that, and 23 with that. So you see what's going on there. I'm basically going for the suppressed barrel that comes with it for no particular reason other than it is married to the gun, and I'd like to use it as such. If it didn't give it an increase any better than using a silent killer, I would have avoided it, but since they're the same, I'll use that one. The concealment boost, obviously, and that's it as far as getting a detection risk of 4 by having a 23 concealment value on a street sweeper shotgun. Now the Judge is another incredible shotgun. It works like a pistol, acts like a pistol, but it is a shotgun. It will fall under the constraints of shotgun mods, but pistol mods don't affect this. So we use the Silent Killer suppressor, the concealment boost, and that's it. I do like using a sight mainly for this one, so I can live with a 30. I usually do anyway, but for the sake of the video I'm going to take that off. But this sight makes it easier for you to see past that canister or the suppressor. See, I can't see down the sight. It's hard for me to hold that there. But that gets in the way when you're aiming down the sight, and I do aim down the sight. But if you can live without a sight on this one, you can have it at a 31, which is the most it can have as far as concealment. So that's pretty powerful shotgun in the palm of your hands. It's really awesome. Here is a DLC item from the Goat Simulator. It's the GSPS 12 gauge shotgun, and I used a Silent Killer suppressor and a concealment boost, as well as the stakeout stock, which all adds up to a 28 in concealment, and this thing will stay definitely at minimum detection. So as far as all of them go, let's see, the only ones that got close was the street sweeper. So China Puff and Street Sweeper are on the same concealment number. Okay, that's still not bad. So for the most part, if you're using a critical build, any one of these shotguns modded the way they are will keep your detection risk at low enough for critical damage to work if you're using low blow. If you're stealthing, you can stealth with any of these shotguns as your secondary and not worry too much about having a high detection risk. Now I'm going to start back at the top, and I'm going to switch over to a bit more. Alright, here's a 29 concealment Clarion rifle, another option I use for going loud and my critical grinder build. So 46 is the number it went up to. Let me see, I'll go 35 to 46, so that's 11 points for the loss. So I guess it would probably be safe to say that, yeah, in order to keep your critical, you want to stay at a 30 to cover all the bases. Otherwise, you'll have to use the GSPS, the Judge, the Locomotive, or the pistol crossbow. Now, you can forsake that and go with the Clarion if you want. You can actually get a 30 out of this one if you take the sight off. And 30, let's take it at 30 and see what happens. I'm sorry, I'm dragging this video out for no good reason other than the fact that it's the last one. So I'll remove the sight. There it is, a 29 goes to a 30. Now let's see what it does for our secondaries. And I'll just do it here, 45 to 3 to 7. So it lost 2. That's not bad. That's better. That's definitely good. That's better. So for the most part, the main secondary shotguns you should use are definitely within a good number for concealment. Even with the 30 Clarion rifle as opposed to a 32 Car 4, you're just actually keeping the values way below 5, which, 3, 4, 5, those are good numbers to have if you're using low blow when you're talking detection risk. So Anything higher than that, you'll lose a bit of the critical damage that you could be getting, but for the most part, other than the saw and the rocket launcher, you can actually keep that number right in there, which is no surprise to me. The shotguns are always, the secondaries anyway, are really versatile, more so than the primaries in my opinion. Well, I hope this series of videos has helped you get a grasp on maybe what you might want to use with modding your weapons, or even what you might want to avoid when you're modding your weapons. So as long as you got something out of this, I'm content. If nothing else, I sure did. I learned quite a bit about these weapons, and it looks like I might be using a few different things just to shake it up a bit. As always, take care, be well, and good games, everyone.